Well, hi guys, Coach Jerry from the Protocol Strength and Conditioning in Tucson, Arizona. And as you can see, today we are not in the gym, we are actually in my kitchen. And the reason we are doing this video today is I wanted to share with you guys my breakfast cereal that you've heard me write about in the blog. This breakfast cereal, as I'm sure you can already start to see here, is a little bit more complicated than your traditional bowl of cereal. Also, if you've been following my stuff, you know that I'm one of those guys that eats 2 meals a day. And the vast majority of my daily calories come in one of those meals, which is the one that I eat later in the afternoon. So the intention of my breakfast cereal is I want it to be very nutritionally dense, but calorically low. It's something that I do before I leave the house and before my training session. And then later in the afternoon, I'll have that big meal. At some point, I might do a video about what that looks like, but today I want to focus on this. The reason that I have the particular ingredients that I put into this breakfast cereal is one of several things. Number one, most of us do not get enough protein. Number two, most of us do not eat enough vegetables. Number three, most of us do not get enough fiber. And number four, most of us do not do any kind of fermented foods in our diet. I'm from the former Soviet Union. We eat all kinds of fermented foods. There's been a lot of research out there about not having fermented foods in your diet correlated to poor gut health. So I actually made a New Year's resolution a number of years ago that I would eat some type of fermented food every single day, and I have been trying to stick to that. So in my effort to try to game the nutritional system, I try to get all those things done in my little breakfast mixture here. So with that introduction out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about what's going in here. I will try to post links for most of this stuff down in the description. I do have some affiliate links. You can follow those if you'd like. If not, you can find this stuff online. A lot of the things that we're using today come from just the grocery store. I'm a huge fan of Trader Joe's. They may or may not have those in your area, but if there is no Trader Joe's, you can find this sort of stuff pretty much at any grocery store. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with low-fat kefir. I do try to get the one that's, I guess, partially skimmed. This is how I get that fermented food in my breakfast. I'm going to put 6 ounces. I am not using a measuring cup because my handy dandy BlendTech blender has the little measure on the side. By the way, a BlendTech blender is awesome. Whether you get a BlendTech or a Vitamix, they're both very, very good. They are expensive, but my BlendTech is about 14 years old and it works just like the day I got it. Not only is it very durable, but also the quality of the blend is very, very different than what you get from your traditional cheap household blenders. So I got my kefir in there. The next thing I'm going to do, I freeze a bunch of bananas at a time just to have easy access to them. I'm going to dump a half of a frozen banana into that mixture. The next thing that I put in there is cinnamon. I do not measure the cinnamon. I love cinnamon, so I'm just going to dump a whole bunch in there. Why cinnamon? I don't know. I just like cinnamon. There's some research out there that says that cinnamon is a natural thermogenic. It's probably bogus, but whatever. I like cinnamon, so I put it in there. The next thing that I'm going to put in there is a product called Green Blend. I'll put this in the description. I know there's a huge cult following for a product called AG1. If you like AG1, throw AG1 in there. Not a big deal. I think it's really, really expensive for what they're giving you. I also know from my relationships with various affiliates, they pay their affiliates a ton of money, and I guess they got to get that money somehow. I use this stuff because it's a fraction of the price. The next thing that I'm going to put in there is some collagen powder. I put this in here because my wife told me to. Next, I'm going to put a scoop of protein. I have been using Legion protein for about 5 or 6 years now. I recently became an affiliate of theirs, and there will be an affiliate link down in the description. I really, really like this product. Not all protein powders are created equal. This one, today I'm using cocoa cereal, but you can get whatever flavor works good for you. I'm going to put that in there. There's no junk sweeteners, no junk fillers. It's independently lab tested. It's just really, really, really good stuff. Can you use any protein you want? Absolutely you can. I use Legion because it doesn't upset my stomach and it's good stuff. So now I have my wet stuff in there first, then I got the dry stuff on top. The last thing that I like to throw in there, now I do have my scoop of greens, but I also like real greens too. Normally I use a product called Power to the Greens. It's a blend of various leafy greens. I don't have any of that at the time that I was filming this video, so I'm just gonna use plain old spinach. I also don't measure this. I'm just gonna take a big old fistful of this spinach and I'm gonna dump it in there. If you have a cheap blender, it may not grind this up really good. Get a good blender, it's worth it. So I just put a bunch in there. I didn't measure that out, but let's call it a cup. This is usually where I would pause and start making my coffee. I actually like to let that banana partially melt. It makes the blending process a whole lot easier and a whole lot faster. So at this point, I'll just sort of cover this thing up. Also, I'm guessing based on the sound that I've got here that once I start hitting this blender, it's gonna make a ton of noise. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and edit the noisy part out of this video. But the way that I do this is I pulse it until I can kind of hear that the banana has more or less been shredded up. Then I go ahead and turn it on a low speed, get it all blending. I kick it on a high speed for a few more seconds. How blended it needs to be is somewhat to your liking, but also it's going to depend heavily on what kind of blender you're using. So I'm going to run that pulse and then blend phase. I'm going to edit that out of this video so you're not getting a bunch of noise on your side, and we'll check back in here in just a second. Okay, so that's all blended. I'm going to go ahead and take this off here and kick my blender off. We're going to open this up and we're just going to dump that out into a cereal bowl. If I wasn't filming, I would probably spend a lot of extra time trying to scoop all this stuff out. I'm not going to be as fussy with it today because I want to save time. But remember, there's all kinds of good protein in there. You don't want to leave that last gram of protein in your blender. You want to get that down into your belly. So when you're done with that, you've got there. You got this nice little handy bowl of the green powder. Looks disgusting, tastes really good. Next thing I'm gonna, so now here comes so this is basically like the milk for my cereal. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make the cereal part. This is just Trader Joe's high fiber cereal. If you don't have Trader Joe's, you can use All Brand. I've measured this so many times that I actually do it by eyesight, but I do get one serving in there. My lovely spouse measures everything, and I am very jealous of that level of discipline. I do not have that level of discipline. I only measure certain things. Once I have my cereal in there, the next thing I'm going to do is I get these whole psyllium husks. So this is the thing I was talking about regarding gaming the system. I try to get my daily intake of fiber, which is about 35 to 40 grams, I think is what they recommend. I actually try to get that in my breakfast cereal. If I can do that, I figure any residual fiber that I get from the extra fruits and veggies that I eat later in the day is just bonus. You might be thinking to yourself, Jerry, that sounds like a lot of fiber. I don't have any problems with that. Do I really need to have that kind of fiber in my diet? I guess the only thing that I have to say for that, without being too rude about it, is try doing 35 to 40 grams of fiber a day in your diet for about a week or two, and see how that goes for you. I think you might be a little surprised. So if I was more diligent, I would use an actual tablespoon, but I am trying to use a serving that they recommend here, which is two level tablespoons. Mine is more of an approximation. When you're done, it looks like this. Some mornings I like to have a little bit of extra fruit in there, so I usually try to do some sort of low glycemic fruit because I already have that half a banana. So I'm just using berries. And again, I don't know that I'm getting a whole serving in there, but I'm just sprinkling a few berries on top of that. And what we end up with here is my breakfast cereal. And I'll usually have that. I'll have a cup of coffee, maybe another cup of tea. And that is my morning ritual. So I know you guys have heard me talk about this for a long time. I've been promising to do this video. Again, I will have links at the bottom, not only to our gym, but also the products that were used in this video. Thanks for taking the time to watch it. We'll catch you again soon.